Hello, hello, and welcome to my poetry reading live stream. Hang on just a second. Gotta fix the light. Always a lighting issue. Today I'm going to be reading, Yeah, I'm live! Sorry. Today I'm going to be reading The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot, frankly, just because we are in the middle of a cruel April, and the poem starts with the line, "April is the cruelest month," and Um, also, a couple people in my Discord thought that it was a good idea when I kind of floated the idea, and some people in my last Poetry Corner stream were all about it, so I'm bringing this to you right now. I'm going to wait a little bit for some people to show up to start reading the actual poem. In the meantime, I'm just going to make one more quick social media announcement and just kind of keep chatting away, keep the noise happening. Oh, I forgot my mic. Hang on. You can't hear me. All right, now I have my mic. I am very professional. Hello, Freddie. How are you? It's good to see you here. I know I've seen you on a couple of Kate's streams. Um, I hope you're doing well. I hope the weather's nice in Toronto. It's okay here right now. It's a little gloomy, but it's just kind of doing that gloomy April in between rains kind of thing. Um, but yeah, doing all right. I gotta pull up the poem. I haven't pulled up the poem yet, which I really should do. I'm glad the weather's not horrid. I think that this time of year, that's about all you can hope for. So I'm very glad that the weather is cooperating at least a little bit. Just getting my poem. Oh, and I've been spelling the wasteland wrong in all of my promotional stuff. It's the waste land with a space. That's one of the first things we talked about in the class that I studied the wasteland in. But we're in difficult times, and I think that excuses my spelling. Um, so I think what I'm going to do is there's chapters to this poem, and I think I'm going to kind of pause and check in a little bit between each of these chapters, just to kind of talk, because otherwise I'm just talking at you, and I think part of the point of the live stream is to chat, just kind of be able to connect. Um, so I guess I'm going to talk a little bit about the wasteland while we wait. Um, so The Wasteland is a poem it's a modernist poem, which means a lot of different things, but, oh, that is unfortunate. Hello, I'm glad you're here, I'm glad you made it. And that is unfortunate about your grocery order. I really hope that I hope they can figure it out, and I hope that in the meantime, I can be a little bit of a distraction. Jeez, that is not good, but at least half of it did arrive. At least you've got food. I'm glad you can still have food. Um, so yeah, I believe I'm going to begin my reading of the poem. So yeah, I'm glad you're here, everyone. Um, so this is The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot, and the first chapter. Sorry, I got an itch on my nose. You turn on the camera, you get an itch on your nose. That's how it works. Um, so the first chapter is called The Burial of the Dead. April is the cruelest month, breeding lilacs out of the dead land, mixing memory and desire, stirring dull roots with spring rain. Winter kept us warm, covering earth in forgetful snow, feeding a little life with dried tubers. Summer surprised us, coming over the Starnsburger Sea with a shower of rain. We stopped in the colonnade and went out in sunlight into the Hofgarten, and drank coffee and talked for an hour. Bin gar kein Russin, Stammausleichten ex Deutsch. I do not speak German. I apologize. I should have practiced this. Um, and when we were children, staying at the Archduke's, my cousin's, he took me out on a sled, and I was frightened. He said, Marie, Marie, hold on tight, and down we went. In the mountains, there you feel free. I read much of the night, and go south in winter. What are the roots that clutch? What branches grow out of this stony rubbish? Son of man, you cannot say or guess, for you know only a heap of broken images, where the sun beats and the dead tree gives no shelter, the cricket no relief, and the dry stone no sound of water. Only there is shadow under this red rock. Come in under the shadow of this red rock, and I will show you something different from either your shadow at morning striding behind you, or your shadow at evening rising to meet you. I will show you fear in a handful of dust. Frisch weht der Wind, der Heimat zu, mein Irish kind wo weilest du? You gave me hyacinths first a year ago. They called me the hyacinth girl. Yet when we came back late from the hyacinth garden, your arms full and your hair wet, I could not speak, and my eyes failed. I was neither living nor dead, and I knew nothing. Looking out into the heart of light, the silence. Odin Lear des Meer. Madame Sosostris, famous clairvoyant, had a bad cold, nevertheless, is known to be the wisest woman in Europe, with a wicked pack of cards. Here, said she, is your card, the drowned Phoenician sailor. Those are pearls that were his eyes. Look. Here is Belladonna, the lady of the rocks, the lady of situations. Here is the man with 3 staves, and here the wheel, and here is the one-eyed merchant, and this card, which is blank, is something he carries on his back, which I am forbidden to see. I do not find the hanged man, fear death by water. I see crowds of people walking round in a ring. Thank you. If you see dear Mrs. Equitone, tell her I bring the horoscope myself. One must be so careful these days. Unreal city, under the brown fog of a winter dawn. A crowd flowed over London Bridge, so many. I had not thought death had undone so many. Sighs, short and infrequent, were exhaled, and each man fixed his eyes before his feet, flowed up the hill and down King William Street, to where St. Mary Woolnoth kept the hours, with a dead sound on the final stroke of 9. There I saw one I knew, and stopped him, crying, Stetson! You who were with me in the ships at Milai, that corpse you planted last year in your garden, has it begun to sprout? Will it bloom this year? Or has the sudden frost disturbed its bed? I will keep the dog far hence that's friend to men, or with his nails he'll dig it up again. You, hypocrite lecteur, mon semblable, mon frère. Um, so that is the end of the first book. I don't know how you guys are doing. I'm doing all right. I'm feeling a little emotional. I apologize. I forgot how many verses were, not verses, but lines were in different languages, and I do not speak French, and I do not speak German, but I know that I kind of know the gist of that last line, something about a hypocrite and a brother. Um, I don't I don't know of any way of increasing my volume. I've done just about everything that I is in my experience to increase my volume, and I'm going to have to ask somebody about that. That might not help. I know I have a little bit of a problem with it. My mic helps a little bit with my volume, but yeah, I'm going to have to ask someone to help me with it. But in the meantime, I can sit a little bit closer to the mic and see if that helps any, and try to keep my voice up a little bit higher, because I do tend to go a little bit quiet when I am speaking. I believe it has something to do with the setting that helps keep the road noise out. So either I'm a little quiet, or there's a whole bunch of road noise, and I don't know how to fix it without putting the road noise back in, but yeah, that's all I got. But yeah, take care. I'm gonna get back into it, I think. This next chapter is called A Game of Chess. The chair she sat the I can't talk. Um, the chair she sat in, like a burnished throne, glowed on the marble, where the glass held up by standards wrought with fruited vines, from which a golded cupidon peeped out. Another hid his eyes behind his wing. Doubled the flames of seven-branched candelabra. Good to know, thank you. Doubled the flames of seven-branched candelabra, reflecting the light upon the table as the glitter of her jewels rose to meet it. From satin cases poured in rich profusion, and vials of ivory and colored glass, unstoppered, lurked in her strange synthetic perfumes, unguent, powdered or liquid, troubled, confused, and drowned in the scents and odors stirred by the air that freshened from the window. These ascended in fattening the prolonged candle flames, flung their smoke into the lacqueria, stirring the pattern on the coffered ceiling. Huge seawood fed with copper burned green and orange, framed by the colored stone, in which sad light a carved dolphin swam. Above the antique mantel was displayed, as though a window gave upon the sylvan scene, the change of Philomel by the barbarous king so rudely forced. Yet there the nightingale filled all the desert with involuble voice, and still she cried, and still the world pursues, jug jug to dirty ears. And other withered stumps of time were told upon the walls. Staring forms leaned out, leaning, hushing the room enclosed. Footsteps shuffled on the stair, under the firelight, under the bridge. The brush, her hair spread out in fiery points, glowed into words, then would be savagely still. My nerves are bad tonight. Yes, bad. Stay with me. Speak to me. Why do you never speak? Speak. What are you thinking of? What thinking? What? I never know what you are thinking. Think. I think we are in Rat's Alley, where the dead men lost their bones. What is that noise? The wind under the door. What is that noise now? What is the wind doing? Nothing again, nothing. Do you know nothing? Do you see nothing? Do you remember nothing? I remember, those are pearls that were his eyes. Are you alive or not? But oh, that Shakespearean rag. It's so elegant, so intelligent. What shall I do now? What shall I do? I shall rush out as I am and walk the street with my hair down, so. What shall we do tomorrow? What shall we ever do? The hot water at 10, and if it rains, a closed car at 4, and we shall play a game of chess, pressing lidless eyes and waiting for a knock upon the door. When Lil's husband got demobbed, I didn't mince my words, I said to her myself, hurry up, please, it's time. Now Albert's coming back, make yourself a bit smart. He'll want to know what you done with that money he gave you to get yourself some teeth. He did, I was there. You have them all out, Lil, and get a nice set. He said, I swear, I can't bear to look at you. And no more can I said, and think of poor Albert. He's been in the army 4 years, he wants a good time, and if you don't give him, there's others will, I said. Oh, is there? She said. Something of that, I said. Then I'll know who to thank, she said, and give me a straight look. Hurry up, please, it's time. If you don't like it, you can get on with it, I said. Others can pick and choose if you can't. But if Albert makes off, it won't be for lack of telling. You ought to be ashamed, I said, to look so antique, and her only 31. I can't help it, she said, pulling a long face. It's them pills I took to bring it off, she said. She's had 5 already, and nearly died of young George. The chemist said that it would be all right, but I've never been the same. You are a proper fool, I said. Well, if Albert won't leave you alone, there it is, I said. What did you get married for if you didn't want children? Hurry up, please, it's time. Well, that Sunday Albert was home, they had a hot gammon, and they asked me in to dinner to get the beauty of it hot. Hurry up, please, it's time. Hurry up, please, it's time. Good night, Bill. Good night, Lou. Good night, May. Good night. Ta-ta. Good night, good night. Good night, ladies. Good night, sweet ladies. Good night. Good night. I'm about to start the next chapter. It's called The Fire Sermon, but before I start the next chapter, I just want to say hello, Phil, and hello, Rhiannon. I'm so glad that you guys are here. It is really good to see you here. This next chapter is called The Fire Sermon. The river's tent is broken. The last fingers of leaf clutch and sink into the wet bank. The wind crosses the brown land unheard. The nymphs are departed. Sweet Thames, run softly till I end my song. The river bears no empty bottles, sandwich papers, silk handkerchiefs, cardboard boxes, cigarette ends, or other testimony of southern summer nights. The nymphs are departed, and their friends, the loitering heirs of city directors. Departed, they have left no addresses. By the waters of Leman I sat down and wept. Sweet Thames, run softly till I end my song. Sweet Thames, run softly, for I speak not loud or long. But at my back in a cold blast I hear the rattle of the bones, and chuckle spread from ear to ear. A rat crept softly through the vegetation, dragging its slimy belly on the bank while I was fishing in the dull canal on a winter evening round behind the gas house, musing upon the king my brother's wreck, and on the king my father's death before him. White bodies naked on the low damp ground, and bones cast in a little low dry garret, rattled by the rat's foot only, ear to ear. But at my back from time to time I hear the sound of horns and motors, which shall bring Sweeney to Mrs. Porter in the spring. Oh, the moon shone bright on Mrs. Porter and on her daughter. They washed their feet in soda water. Et aux ces voix d'infants chantant dans la coupole. Twit, 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 jug, 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 jug. So rudely forced to row. Unreal city, under the brown fog of a winter noon. Mr. Eugenides, the Smyrna merchant, unshaven, with a pocket full of curtains, CIF London. Documents at sight, asked me in demotic French to luncheon at the Cannon Street Hotel, followed by a weekend at the Metropole. At the violet hour, when the hands and back turn upward from the desk, when the human engine waits, like a taxi throbbing waiting, I, Tiresias, though blind, throbbing between two lives, old man with wrinkled female breasts, can see at the violet hour, by the evening hour that strives homeward and brings the sailor home from sea. The typist home at tea time, clears her breakfast, lights her stove, and lays out food in tins. Out of the window, perilously spread, her drying combinations touched by the sun's last rays. On the divan are piled, at night her bed, stockings, slippers, camisoles, and stays. I, Tiresias, old man with wrinkled dugs, perceived that scene, and foretold the rest. I, too, awaited the expected guest. He, the young man, carbuncular, arrives. A small house agent's clerk, with one bold stare, one of the low on whom assurance sits as a silk hat on a Bradford millionaire. The time is now propitious, as he guesses. The meal is ended, she is bored and tired. Endeavors to engage her in caresses, which still are unreproved, if undesired. Flushed and decided, he assaults at once, exploring hands encounter no defense. His vanity requires no response, and makes a welcome of indifference. And I, Tiresias, have forsuffered all, and acted on the same divan or bed. I, who have sat by Thebes below the wall, and walked among the lowest of the dead. Bestows one final patronizing kiss, and gropes his way, finding the stairs unlit. She turns and looks a moment in the glass, hardly aware of her departed lover. Her brain allows one half-formed thought to pass. Well, now that's done, and I'm glad it's over. When lovely folly woman stoops to folly and paces about her room again, alone, she smooths her hair with automatic hand and puts a record on the gramophone. The music crept by me upon the waters, and along the Strand up Queen Victoria Street. O city, city, I can sometimes hear, beneath a public bar in Lower Thames Street, the pleasant whining of a mandolin, and a clatter and a chatter from within, where fishmen lounge at noon, where the walls of Magnus Martyr holds inexplicable splendor of Ionian white and gold. The river sweats, oil and tar, the barges drift with the turning tide. Red sails wide to leeward swing on the heavy spar. The barges wash drifting logs down Greenwich Reach, past the Isle of Dogs. Wa-la-la-lea, wa-la-la-la-lea-la-la. Elizabeth and Leicester, beating oars. The stern was formed a gilded shell. Red and gold the brisk swell rippled both shores. Southwest wind carried down a stream. The peal of bells, white towers. Wa-la-la-la-lea, wa-la-la-lea-la-la. Trams and dusty streets. Highbury bore me. Richmond and Kew undid me. By Richmond I raised my knees supine on the floor of a narrow canoe. My feet are at Moorgate, and my heart under my feet. After the event, he wept. He promised a new start. I made no comment. What should I resent? On Margate sands, I can connect nothing with nothing, the broken fingernails of dirty hands. My people, humble people who expect nothing. Lala. To Carthage then I came, burning, 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 burning. O Lord, thou pluckest me out. O Lord, thou pluckest, burning. I hope you all are well. This next chapter is called Death by Water. Phoebus the Phoenician, a fortnight dead, forgot the cry of gulls and the deep sea swell and the prophet and loss. A current undersea picked his bones in whispers. As he rose and fell, he passed the stages of his age and youth, entering the whirlpool. Gentile or Jew, O you who took the wheel and look to windward, consider Phoebus, who was once handsome and tall as you. And the next chapter, What the Thunder Said. Oh, I know, I knocked my computer. The next chapter is What the Thunder Said. After the torchlight red on sweaty faces, after the frosty silence in the gardens, after the agony in stony places, the shouting and the crying, prison and palace and reverberation of thunder sprang over distant mountains. He who was living is now dead. We who were living are now dying, with a little patience. Here is no water but only rock, rock and no water in the sandy road, the road winding above among the mountains, which are mountains of rock without water. If there were water, we should stop and drink. Amongst the rock one cannot stop or think. Sweat is dry and feet are in the sand. If there were only water among the rock. Dead mountain mouth of carious teeth that cannot spit. Here one can neither stand nor lie nor sit. There is not even silence in the mountains, but dry sterile thunder without rain. There is not even solitude in the mountains, but sullen faces sneer and snarl from doors of mud-cracked houses. If there were water and no rock, if there were rock and also water, and water, a spring, a pool among the rock. If there were the sound of water only, not the cicada and the dry grass singing, but the sound of water over a rock, where the hermit thrush sings in the pine trees. Drip, drop, drip, drop, 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 but there is no water. Who is the third who walks always beside you? When I count, there are only you and I together, but when I look up ahead at the white road, there is always another one walking beside you, gliding wrapped in a brown mantle, hooded. I do not know whether a man or woman, but who is that on the other side of you? What is that sound high in the air, murmur of maternal lamentation? Who are those hooded hordes swarming over endless plains, stumbling in cracked earth ringed by the flat horizon only? What is the city over the mountains? Cracks and reforms and bursts in the violet air. Falling towers. Jerusalem, Athens, Alexandria, Vienna, London. Unreal. A woman drew her long black hair out tight and fiddled whisper music on those strings. And bats with baby faces in the violet light whistled and beat their wings and crawled head downward toward a blackened wall. And upside down in air were towers tolling reminiscent bells that kept the hours and voices singing out of empty cisterns and exhausted wells. In this decayed hole among the mountains, in the faint moonlight the grass is singing, over the tumbled graves, about the chapel. There is the empty chapel, only the wind's home. It has no windows, and the door swings. Dry bones can harm no one. Only a cock stood on the roof tree, Cocorico, and a flash of lightning. Then a damp gust bringing rain. Ganga was sunken, and the limp leaves waited for rain, while the black clouds gathered far distant over him avant. The jungle crouched, humped in silence, then spoke the thunder. Da, data, what have we given? My friend, blood shaking my heart, the awful daring of a moment's surrender, which an age of prudence can never retract. By this and this only we have existed, which is not to be found in our obituaries, or in memories draped by the beneficent spider, or under seals broken by the lean solicitor in our empty room. Da, the Yadfam. I have heard the key turn in the door once and turn once only. We think of the key, each in his prison. Thinking of the key, each confirms a prison. Only at nightfall ethereal rumors retrieve for a moment a broken Coriolanus. Da, Damiata. The boat responded gaily. To the hand expert with sail and oar, the sea was calm. Your heart would have responded gaily when invited, beating obedient to controlling hands. I sat upon the shore, fishing, with the arid plain behind me. Shall I at least set my lands in order? London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. Poisacos nel foco che gliafina, quando fiam uti Chileadon. O swallow, swallow, the Prince d'Aquitaine a la tour abolie. These fragments I have shored against my ruins. Why then I'll fit you. Hieronymo's Madagascar. Dada, Dayadvam, Damiata. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And that is the end of the Wasteland. I hope you liked my reading of it. I hope that it was maybe a little calming or a little bit of a distraction. It's a very strange and unusual poem. It took us a month to study it when I first studied it, and um, the references are very esoteric, but I love how esoteric it is. It feels like there's something almost magical about it to me. Um, I am glad you liked the reading. Thank you so much. Oh, I see. I think that's my sister. I think that's my sister in the chat. Nice to see you. Um, I am so glad that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I think just about everybody's in my Discord, so I'm not gonna hype my Discord. You guys have all heard all my speeches. Phil, you should absolutely write poetry. Please write poetry. I will read all of it. I promise. Unless you don't want me to read it, obviously. But yeah, the surrealness of it makes sense right now in a way. I don't know. I enjoy it a lot, and I'm glad I could share this poem with you. I might keep doing this. I might keep just doing like a reading of a. Maybe that should be my new Friday thing. I might keep doing just like a reading of a story or something. It's got to be in the public domain probably if I can't get permission from people. But I might just do readings on Fridays as well as Tuesdays. Although Tuesday will probably be my own feature day, or I'll be. We'll see. I might start something new on Fridays if you guys would like that. But yeah, I am so glad that you all could be here with me today. This was really lovely, and I hope you had a good time. Take care of yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you on Tuesday if you want to be here Tuesday at 4. I stream every Tuesday. I share people's poetry, and yeah, it's a pretty beautiful thing. We're making something really beautiful here, and I love that it's such a community thing. So I'll see you all later. Take care. Bye bye.